Hello and welcome to Mindful Living, where we explore the art of living with the intention, balance, and inner peace. I am Avik, your host, guiding you through conversations on health, meditation, mental well being, mindfulness, and the mind body connection. Each episode features expert insights to help you grow, heal, and thrive. So, take a deep breath, relax, and join us on this journey to a more mindful and fulfilling life. So, let's get started.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to the Mindful Living podcast. I am your host, Sana, and today we have a truly inspiring guest, Alicia Faricielli, a certified life and health coach, intuitive healer, and a master of personal transformation. Alicia's life story is nothing short of extraordinary. From navigating a difficult childhood to becoming a powerhouse single mother and successful entrepreneur, Alicia has faced and overcome some serious challenges. She even turned inner child healing into her superpower, using it to reclaim her confidence, self worth, and sense of calm. Now, as the host of the Intuitive Revolution podcast, she shares her wisdom and thousands offering guidance on everything from inner child healing to building resilience. So, listeners, grab a cozy spot because today Alicia is here to share the secrets behind unlocking the true power within all of us. Alicia, welcome to the show, and it is an absolute honor to have you with us today.
Thank you. I'm super excited. Thanks for having me on here.
Your journey from a challenging childhood, Alicia, to becoming a transformational coach, it is very inspiring, of course. So, could you share what led you to focus on inner child healing as a cornerstone of your work?
Absolutely. So I grew up in a very, I call super conservative, super religious household of a kind of hellfire damnation mentality, very fear-based. So once I was going through my childhood, I was just extremely timid and shy, and I had a lot of inner child wounds that I didn't realize until I got older that were causing things to happen in my life. Patterns I was repeating that didn't seem to go away. So as I kind of got through into my teens, super rebellious teenager, very angry, went into my adulthood, got married, had children at a very young age, and got divorced right before I turned 30. And so as I get to my 30s, I was thinking, I don't really want to live like this anymore. I don't really want to go through and feel like I feel. And so I started doing a lot of transformational healing for myself. I went through doing some reading. Had been in therapy for years, on and off for many, many years. And so as I kind of started getting deeper and deeper and deeper into what I wanted to do and decided, I really want to go into business coaching and start to coach other entrepreneurs. However, when I started coaching them, I found out that they really needed more mindset work ahead of them. So we started working on mindset, and then I hired a coach for myself and introduced me to energy healing, introduced me to meditation and breath work and a whole different way of thinking, a whole different way of life. And so once I started doing that, things that were locked inside of me started to go away. Like emotions that were stored inside of me started to leave, and I was able to actually open up and heal to a certain point. And then I got to a certain point, I was thought, there's something missing. And it's funny how the universe works, because then the term inner child healing and then shadow work behind it came in. And so I was like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see what this is about. So I started going down the rabbit hole with that, and just really started getting a connect to, I call her little Alicia, my inner child, and realized my inner child was wounded and it needed to be healed and it needed to feel safe and loved, and it didn't. So once I started to make her feel safe and loved and respected, I've just basically reparented my own inner child. Then things started to really line up into place, and I started to see things and to view the world differently, started to view people differently. And I was no longer that complete victim in my in my circumstances, I was actually able to be joyful and happy. And so I started working with clients on this inner child thing and discovered that about 90% of their issues was tied into the inner child. So as I started working with them more and more and more, I started seeing them open up as well. So that's kind of how I got into doing inner child work and tying it into meditation and breath work.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia, for sharing your journey. And while inner child is powerful, some might say that revisiting past trauma can hold people back. How do you balance addressing the past with staying focused on the present?
Yeah, that's such a great point and great question. Because we can stay in our past. That's where we're still a victim. And so we want to address the past. And I'm talking about wounds, not major traumas. So we want to address the past to know exactly what started this process so we can go back and forgive and heal from that. But we don't want to stay in the past. That's not who we are. We want our inner child to become a new person. We want to become a new person and stay in the present. So the future lines up very nicely. So we don't want to stay in the past. We don't want to stay in the future. We want to stay in the present. And it's a very hard thing for most of us to do. So as I work with the clients is we go back and talk about a little bit why they felt that way and are they willing to release that? And once they're willing to release all of that, then we start working in the present moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Alicia, balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship, it is no easy feat. It is very, very difficult, yet it's a very beautiful journey. So, what practices helped you stay resilient and present through it all?
Yeah. So when I had my children, I was in my 20s. I was young. I was a very young mother, and now they're in their 20s and, on their own, which is an amazing time to be a mom. I think I get to experience their growth and being adults and get to be their friends now. But practices, I mean, when they were little, I didn't have very many practices, and I felt like I was just in a constant anxiety hamster wheel and trying to thought I was pulling my hair out. I didn't really understand what was going on. But now I'm able to, with little meditation, being able to transform my entire life, who I am and what I want in my life. And I'm able to address any type of problems that come up. And still as adults, they'll call me up and they'll have some things going on that they need some advice from. But knowing also as they're adults is it's not my battle to fight for them anymore because they're not young. It's their battle to fight or their things they have to go through. And so I always try to be very cognizant about it and ask them if they want any advice or they just want me to listen to them. That's been a great tool as far as adulting mother or being a mother to adult children. When they're younger, I mean, I didn't have the skills, unfortunately. I wish I had today. I think it would have been a much smoother ride for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Overcoming limiting beliefs is huge for many people, especially women. What are some practical steps our listeners can take to recognize and start breaking free from these mental barriers?
Yeah, so I think you have to get really honest and real with yourself why you feel this way. A lot of times limiting beliefs come back, I think almost all the time they come back from a self-worth issue. And so you have to start to understand your self-worth and tie what exactly self-worth is. It's not your confidence that you feel with you tied to a certain object or a certain thing or situation in your life. It's actually, no matter if all this was taken away, I'm still worthy of love and respect and being safe. And so once you come to that realization, and that's, you can do that through affirmations by filling into these affirmations. You can do that through meditation. There's so many different tools out there to start to develop the self-worth around you. But you really have to get honest with yourself and say, where is this tied back from? When's the first time that I realized I didn't feel worthy? And then start to dig into that a little bit more. And then ask yourself, was that true then? Probably wasn't true then. And it's definitely not true now because you still have self-worth. And we limit ourselves so much because it's so much easier to stay in a mindset of, it's so much easier for her to say we can't do that than to actually take a chance and to have to feel the feelings behind quote unquote failure, But when we
Yeah.
start to look at failure as differently as just a learning opportunity and where we needed to be at the time to get to that place and what we do not knowing that what we do not want, it's nothing. It's a beautiful thing. So it's really reframing the way that you think about failure, reframing the way you think about your life, practicing gratitude, realizing the things you do have in your life, and that if you achieve those things, what makes you, who's to say that you can't achieve other things in your life?
Lovely, lovely. So you mentioned meditation as a powerful tool in your healing. So how can someone new to meditation start to incorporate it into their life in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I think we put so much stress on ourselves that we have to meditate and we have to be this, Buddhist monk and sit there all day long and clear our minds out. And in reality, we are human beings and our minds are going because we're alive. And so we have to take off the pressure to do it perfectly. And find there's different types of meditation. Some people like breathing meditation. Some people, guided meditations are great to start with. Start with 5 or 10 minutes. Don't stress yourself out with, you have to sit there for an hour. Start with a 5-minute breath meditation where you're concentrating on your breath. Those are, what I call the Western. Obviously, you probably understand more Eastern is more of a spiritual guidance. But people are starting out. There's so many different meditations on Insight Timer. There's so many meditations on YouTube. Just find somebody that you resonate with and learn their style and learn the way that they flow into it. And then give yourself grace. If you think, if your mind wanders off, just go back to your breath. Pay attention to the way your body's feeling. Go back to a central moment and just start over again. You're still getting such great benefits, even if your mind is wandering.
Yeah. Interesting. So many people believe, Alicia, self-worth is innate, while others feel it needs constant nurturing, constant validation. In your view, can self-worth ever be fully achieved, or is it something we need to cultivate continuously?
Yeah, so I think self-worth is once you have a true self-worth of yourself, I don't think that's something that really goes away. I think that confidence goes away. And so I think when you tie your self-worth to your entire being of who you are, and no matter what happens to you or for you or whatever, you are still worthy of love and safety and respect and all the goodness. You're still worthy of being loved. And so when we tie our self-worth into I'm worthy of being loved, and that love has to come, if it comes from me, it comes from me. If it comes from other people, it comes from other people as well. But we have to have that self-love for ourselves. Our confidence is something that does waver back and forth. One day you may feel confident in something, that you're good at something or desire. But if you tie your self-worth into your possessions or what you achieve in life or a title that you have or who you are, what you look like, if it's not tied into that pure, genuine in essence that you're nothing but love, then that's just confidence. And yes, that does go away.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have spoken about self-worth. So could you walk us through some daily practices that you believe can help nurture self-worth?
Yeah, I think you have to, for someone who someone who is starting out on a journey to find self-worth, I'll go that way. There's different practices for different different levels, you would say. So for someone who's just starting off, look yourself in the face and in the mirror and just look at yourself. And what's the first thing that pops up? You start noticing your wrinkles. You got those wrinkles for something beautiful that happened in your life. It's because you're a little bit older. Well, you were very blessed and have gratitude to have gotten to be at the age that you are. Look yourself and what do you see? What's the first thing that popped into your mind? And then if it's something negative, start to debunk that within yourself. Start to note, and then you start to notice the positive stuff. What's something positive that I see in myself? And really take a note and list of everything, every single day, write something you're grateful for about yourself or about your life that's happened. And keep those. If it's just 3 things, that's fine. If you want to go 2-3 pages long, just keep it in a positive. So you're rewiring your brain to start to look for the good in life instead of the bad in life. And so we start tying our self-worth into everything that's wrong and going on in our life, then we're not going to have a very positive self-worth. If we tie it to our blessings and gratitude for what we do have, then you're going to start to see that, oh, I am worthy of this because it's so true and it's happened to me. And so that's kind of a small step to do. I'm really big on affirmations if you start to feel into those. So if we sit and say, oh, my life is great, I'm beautiful, I'm wonderful, I'm loved, blah, 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 but you're thinking the opposite, you're actually still putting that same energy out. So you want to bring into, I am loved. What does that feel? Or I love myself. What does it feel like when you love something? Put that same energy towards yourself and feel into your heart center when you say that. If you say, I love myself, and you're thinking, I'm horrible, I can't believe I exist, that's not doing you any good. But thinking into it again on the opposite, I am loved, like you would love your child, or you would love your pet or your spouse or whoever it is. Treat yourself even better than that.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And finally, Alicia, in your work, you help others address past traumas to unlock their potential. How do you think how does it work? Why it is so essential to address them? And what advice would you give to someone who may be afraid to confront their past but wants to move forward?
Yeah, so people say it's in my past, it's gone, I don't need to deal with it, but it's not. It's still inside yourself. It's still in your present, and it's going to move into your future. So until you start to release the ties in your victim mindset towards things that happened in the past, you're still taking those into your present. You're just doing it subconsciously. And so you have to release those things, or they're going to still carry into the future. So for instance, if you had something traumatic happen to you, or somebody told you something in the past that you didn't like, and you're like, well, I just have to forgive and just let that go. Yeah, whatever. But you really haven't did that process of it. And every time that somebody says something to you, say compliments you, and subconsciously you're like, well, no, someone told me I was ugly, or really that's not true. Instead of accepting that compliment, and you're still going to take these same repeated patterns into the future if you don't stop those patterns. And so going back and addressing your past is stopping those patterns. So when you get into your future, you're not dealing with the same mindset. You're not dealing with the same energies. Things start to flow better into your life. And so we all have stuff in our past that we continuously need to work on. Again, we don't want to stay in the past. We want to address that and move forward with it.
Right, that is right. And in your experience, Alicia, how can healing the inner child influence someone's current relationships or self-esteem? What are some common shifts or breakthroughs you have seen in your clients who focus on this work?
Yeah, so I have clients that come to me with they're miserable with their job, and they're tied in this job, but they don't know why they can't get out of this particular job, or they don't know why they can get out of this particular relationship. And they don't know why they talk to themselves the way they do, or they treat themselves the way they do. And it 90% of the time ties into something that was told to them, or the way they were treated, or something they experienced, even if it was on TV as a child, that they don't recall. Because as children, our minds are very literal. If the sky is blue, you say the sky is blue and it's actually yellow, they're going to argue, no. But it could be a literal thing that you're talking about, or not a literal thing. You could be talking about something different, but they're literally going to think that what you say is what you mean. And as adults, we have a different comprehension with our mind to know that what we're saying doesn't always mean what the other person's intending it takes it as. So if you don't do that work, all these things are still stuck inside of you again. And until you start releasing these patterns and these thought processes out and start to befriend and make your inner child a creative, fun part of you, it's going to continue to go into the same repeated patterns, because you're not addressing the reasons why you're acting, or you can't move forward with something.
Great. And for people who may feel disconnected from their inner child, any practices that you suggest to reconnect with and nurture that part of themselves?
Yeah, I think a great practice is, if you're starting out, is to find, if you have a photo of yourself or an image in your mind of yourself when you were a child, is to go back to that child and to talk to it and ask what it missed in its life. What were you missing? what did you enjoy doing? And having a conversation with that inner child to get to know it. And then once you do that, there are practices you could do to go back and to reparent it and to speak to this inner child and to just let it know that you're now its new parent. And if you don't want to be the parent to it, you can say, if Oprah or whoever else you want be an ideal parent for you. I'm gonna pretend Oprah is your new parent now, and I'm gonna be Oprah, and I'm gonna talk to you. So we're just having almost like you're having a conversation with yourself. We're gonna have a conversation with the little child in the picture, and know that it's still loved and safe, and it's capable of doing whatever it wants, and that now you're reparenting it.
That is really transformative. Lovely, lovely, Alicia. And if our listeners want to connect with you and seek your help in navigating through healing, through inner child healing, how they can do that?
Yeah, so the best way is to go to my website, and I'll spell that out, is ALICIAFARRICIELLI.com and book a free 1-hour consultation with me. That's AliciaFaricielli.com. On the top, there's a link that says book a free consult. They can do that. And there's a free inner child workshop too, as well, if they want to take that.
Great. We'll have the details mentioned in the show notes for our listeners. And Alicia, thank you so much for, first of all, sharing your transformative journey and your wisdom around inner child healing. And it is really, really inspiring to hear how reconnecting with inner selves, our inner selves, can lead to real lasting change and empower us to move forward with compassion and confidence at the same time. So thank you so much for coming today on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. And for those of you tuning in, I hope today's conversation has sparked some insights and provided you practical tools from your own journey, listeners. And remember, the journey to self-discovery and healing is unique for everyone. And it is never, never too late to start. So stay mindful, stay curious, and keep nurturing that inner light. And be sure to connect with Alicia for exploring more about inner child healing. And until next time on the Mindful Living podcast, take care and keep growing. This is your host, Sana, signing off.